Namaste.
We don't need it.
Oh, you're just gonna,
Oh, that's right. Good idea. Come on. I forgot about that. Fine, I understand. This can be a regular thing. We talked to Papa Mano all back in
Yeah.
Oh. This is absolutely perfect. Kind of. Sort of. There we go. Look away this pants.
Improvised mic. Dr. Mike is just, he wasn't cutting it, Dr. Mike was just getting entangled.
Oh, this one. Oh! There we go. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. There you go. All right. Get over here. Okay. Turtles, please. My iPad is in the closet. Use it for the Govinda prayers. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari and Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Mitbad Paramahansa Bhadikacharya Ashtotar Dadashi Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Bhadikacharya Ashtotar Dadashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Kosi Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Samveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Narayana Namaskritya
Narayana Namaskritya
Narang Chaiva Narottamam
Narang Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Janavirye.
Tato Janavirye.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Prabhupada, the author, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator,
And our spiritual master.
Nashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavatyuttama Shloke
Bhagavatyuttama Shloke
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki.
By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord is glorified in transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Before we begin, I have a request. I should have my chadar hanging over there somewhere.
Oh, the Hari
It was over here. Did you see what happened to it? And Prabhu, can you put that chair right in front of that window? Because the sun, if it comes up any brighter, it's going to be too much. And he can hang that chadar over the back of that chair.
I can't see your chadar.
You don't see my chadar?
He's got a chadar.
Oh, it's right in here. I got it. Yeah, here it is. And Balaram, before you sit down, hang this over the back nicely so it's blocking everything as far as possible. Thank you. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 On the 7th day of July 2017 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in Canto 3, the status quo, chapter 24, the renunciation of Kardama Muni, text number 30. Swiyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Sriyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Chikirshu Bhagavan Jnanam
Chikishur Bhagavan Jnanam
Bhaktana Manavardhanam
Bhaktana Manavardhana
Swiyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Sriyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Chikirshu Bhagavan Jnanam
Chikirshur Bhagavan Jnanam
Bhaktana Manavardhanam
Bhaktana Manavardhana
Swiyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Sriyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Chikirshu Bhagavan Jnanam
Chikirshur Bhagavan Jnanam
Bhaktana Manavardhanam
Bhaktana Manavardhana
Sriyam Vakyam Ritam Kartam
Sriyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Kirshor Bhagavan Jnanam
Chikirshur Bhagavan Jnanam
Danam Manavardhanam
Bhaktanam Manavardhana Sriyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Swiyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Chikirshur Bhagavan Jnanam
Chikirshu Bhagavan Jnanam
Bhaktanam Manavardhana
Bhaktana Manavardhanam Swiyam
Sviyam Vaktam Mritam Kartum
Sriyam Vakyam Ratam Kartum
Avtarna
Avatirno
Avtirno se me grihe
Avatirno Sime Grihe
Chikirshu
Chikirsu Bhagavan Jnanam
Chikirshur Bhagavan Jnanam
Bhaktanam Manavardhana
Bhaktanam Manavardhana
Swiyam
Sriyam
your own
Your own
Vakyam
Vakyam
words
Words
Ritam
Ritam
true
True
Kartum
Kartum
to make
To make
Avatirnaha
Avatirnaha
descendant.
descendant.
Asi,
Asi,
you are.
you are.
Me grihe,
May grihe,
in my house.
in my house.
Chikir shuhu,
Chikir shuhu,
desirous of disseminating.
desirous of disseminating.
Bhagavan,
Bhagavan,
the personality of Godhead.
the personality of Godhead.
Jnanam,
Jnanam,
knowledge.
knowledge.
Bhaktanam,
Bhaktanam,
of the devotees.
of the devotees.
Mana,
Mana,
the honor.
the honor.
Vardhanaha,
Vardhanaha,
who increase.
to increase.
Translation, Kardamuni said to
No,
Kapila Deva. Lord Kapila Deva just appeared. Kardamuni said to Lord Kapila Deva, my dear Lord, you are always increasing the honor of your devotees. Sorry. Kardamuni said, you, my dear Lord, who are always increasing the honor of your devotees, have descended in my home just to fulfill your word and disseminate the process of real knowledge. Please repeat. Kardamuni said,
Kardamuni said,
you, my dear Lord,
you, my dear Lord,
who are always increasing the honor of your devotees,
who are always increasing the honor of your devotees,
have descended in my home
have descended in my home
just to fulfill your word
just to fulfill your word
and disseminate the process of real knowledge.
and disseminate the process of real knowledge.
Purport. When the Lord appeared before Kardama Muni after his mature yoga practice, the Lord promised he would become Kardama's son. This is way back when Narayan appeared, remember? He descended as the son of Kardama Muni in order to fulfill that promise. Another purpose of his appearance is Chikir Shur Bhagavan Jnanam, to distribute knowledge. Therefore he is called Bhaktanam Manavardhanam, he who increases the honor of his devotees. By distributing Sankhya, he would increase the honor of the devotees. Therefore Sankhya philosophy is not dry mental speculation. Sankhya philosophy means devotional service. How could the honor of the devotees be increased unless Sankhya were meant for devotional service? Devotees are not interested in speculative knowledge. Therefore, the Sankhya enunciated by Kapila Muni is meant to establish one firmly in devotional service. Real knowledge and real liberation is to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage in devotional service. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnanandana Shalakya Chakshun Midatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So I'm going to read something now from the preface of the Chaitanya Charitamrita about Lord Kapila Deva. Who would imagine? But here it is. Lord Chaitanya's teachings are identical to those given by Lord Kapila, the original propounder of Sankhya Yoga, the Sankhya system of philosophy. This authorized system of yoga teaches meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord. There is no question of meditating on something void or impersonal when one can meditate on the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu even without practicing involved sitting postures. Such meditation is called perfect samadhi. That this kind of meditation is perfect samadhi is confirmed at the end of the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna says that of all yogis, the greatest is the one who constantly thinks of the Lord within the core of his heart with love and devotion. On the basis of the Sankhya philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, which maintains that the Supreme Lord is simultaneously one with and different from his creation, Lord Chaitanya taught that the most practical way for the mass of people to practice Sankhya Yoga meditation is simply to chant the holy name of the Lord. He taught that the holy name of the Lord is the sound incarnation of the Lord, and that since the Lord is the absolute whole, there is no difference between his holy name and his transcendental form. Thus, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can directly associate with the Lord by sound vibration. And one more quote from Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, text number 4. Krishna says, Sankhya Yoga Pratak Bala Prapadanti Napandita Ekam Apyastitat Samyag Ubiyo Vindate Palam. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself one to one of these paths achieve the results of both. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So there's a natural tendency of all civilized human beings to inquire about what's it all about. Prabhupada describes this in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, the very first purport, where he says, intelligent human beings, they look up into the sky and they see all those stars at night, and they wonder, where did it all come from? What am I doing here? What's the meaning of it all? And of course, without the proper source of knowledge, those questions are either remain completely unanswered or answered in such a way that they deviate one from the true philosophy. So, the Vaishnava philosophy, especially as propounded by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the absolute truth. This is what the whole impetus for all of our, the preaching and all of our acharyas, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spreading the movement, for Srila Prabhupada coming to America, is that this absolute truth is absolutely essential for the welfare of human beings. Any other kind of welfare work that people are trying to do, or hard work to try to mitigate the miseries of this world and achieve peace and happiness in this world, is completely misguided unless it follows the tenets of Vaishnava philosophy. So, establishing that truth, establishing that supremacy of the Vaishnava philosophy that we have been so mercifully given in abundance by the books of Srila Prabhupada and him personally and by our acharyas, is a great battle. It is still being fought, and the history, I was just reading the Chaitanya Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's so much of that, where Lord Chaitanya is just debating with Prakashananda Saraswati, with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And his followers, Jiva Goswami, why did he spend so much time writing those Shat Sandarbhas? Shat means 6. To establish the Bhagavat philosophy, based on Srimad Bhagavatam, as the end of all philosophy. This is the whole meaning of Vedanta, means the ultimate knowledge. And Prabhupada's very name says the ultimate knowledge is bhakti. It's the pure devotional service to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, in the Bhagavatam, as we're reading now, and we'll start to launch into Kapila Dev's philosophy in the next chapter, there's this whole explanation of Sankhya. And this Sankhya has the traditional elements of it. There is a whole chapter, or several chapters, on the workings of the material energy. I'm sure you're familiar with it. We're familiar with it. The analysis of how this creation comes about by the false ego interacting with the different modes of nature and the progressive development of the different elements, gross and subtle, and the movements of the living entities. Very sobering. There's a little description of hell in there. Being dragged off, the sinful soul being dragged off to hell, and the rurus biting him as he goes, And so the movements of the living entities. So all of that is part of Sankhya, is analyzing what's going on, what is this world. Also, a very beautiful description of the Lord in the heart and the meditation of the Lord in the heart, which is, the ultimate goal of Sankhya, seeing Vishnu in the heart. But throughout the whole description, it's saturated with bhakti. The very beginning, first chapter, chapter 25, which is where the teachings begin, next chapter. The first chapter is called The Glories of Devotional Service. So he begins with that. And his first teaching is basically to his mother, Devahuti, who approaches him in the mood of a conditioned soul. I'm suffering so much from my senses are out of control. You're the only one who can help me. And she's got, her guru is the Supreme Personality of God. It's also her son, so she has a great advantage. And so he responds, and the first thing he says, I like to recount this, is this Sadhu Sangashtaka, Prasanga Manjaram Pasham Atmanam Kavayovidu. That these powerful attachments that we have, this is where everyone begins. Whether you're a transcendentalist or a gross materialist or Mayavadi or anyone, you're beset by these material desires that you cultivated in this material world without knowledge of Krishna. So those material desires are called prasanga, means very strong attachment. Sangha has this twofold meaning. It's very revealing. Association and attachment. By association, you become attached. Sangat sanjayate kama. It's right in the Gita, a very famous phrase. And every mother knows it. That's why they don't want their children to hang out with the wrong people. You get into drugs if you hang out with them. Come to the Hare Krishna temple and make friends with the devotee. Sangha is so important. So those very powerful attachments, what do we do with them? You can't just suppress them. That doesn't work. That leads to madness. If you try that, you have to redirect them. You have to sublimate them, dovetail. So become attached to the devotees. He says to the pure devotee, the sadhu. And that attachment opens up the door to liberation. Now, the desire for liberation, it's very interesting amongst devotees because we don't speak about it too much. You don't hear a lot of talk about mukti and moksha in the Hare Krishna temple. In fact, we have that famous pastime with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Balaram, you remember the verse that he didn't like? Tatena Kampa. Punjana. Punjana evan kutam vipakam. Vidvagu vidadan namaste. Jivet yo bhakti badeshadaya bhak. He changed the verse. He chanted to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya laughed. Said, well, you can't change the Bhagavatam verse. It was mukti pade, the very word mukti. But he had been impersonalist, Sarvabhauma, Mayavadi. Very, very learned. He was in charge of the Jagannath temple, and he was the Pandit, Bhattacharya means. So,
how did he remedy it? By taking mukti, bhakti, he said it means the lotus face.
Lord Chaitanya?
That's how Sarvabhauma and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sorted it out. That, one says bhakti, one says mukti, and the way you can accept mukti is that Sarvabhauma found a definition that explains that it's like the lotus face.
Yeah, that's Mukunda. Yeah, it can be Mukunda. He gets mukti, he was bhakti. But he didn't. The point is that he was so much when Lord Chaitanya converted him by teaching him the real meaning of Vedanta Sutra, and 7 days, he heard about Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He took the role of a young sannyasi who needed reformation, because he's just 24 years old, beautiful form, everything. Sarvabhauma, his great saving grace was that he was attracted to Lord Chaitanya. Personally, he wanted to help him, and so he took him to his home, And then the devotees came. He had just come to Jagannath Puri, and Lachananda and the other devotees came and were chanting, and finally Lord Chaitanya stood up and everyone was relieved. But Sarvabhauma says, first of all, the Bharati is not the highest, gotra, as it will, of the sannyasis. So you need to learn. Let me teach you this Vedanta. So I said, okay. So Lord Chaitanya sat there for 7 days, and he didn't say a word. He just listened. I don't think it was 24 hours a day. I think they broke, but. And so at the end of 7 days, Sarvabhauma says, do you understand what I'm saying? You don't ask any questions. Do you have any questions? Because the guru says, says, I understand perfectly well what the philosophy, but your explanations are obscuring, or beclouding the actual meaning. So Sarvabhauma said, okay, well, what do you think of me? So then Chaitanya explained it in terms of bhakti, and that's how we get the word Bhakti Vedanta, as bhakti is the end of Vedanta. And by the end of that time, Sarvabhauma was, first of all, he saw his six-armed form. That was one thing. And he was totally converted. And it was interesting because all of the erudition and enthusiasm he had for mukti was now transferred to Lord Chaitanya and bhakti. So he didn't, the point is the word mukti had bad connotations for him. It reminded him of his previous, he said that in his prayers, he says, I was just like an oil cake that all the oil had been taken out of. In other words, it was dry. He had been dried up. Lord Chaitanya poured the nectar of bhakti out of me, and now I'm dancing, There's some beautiful verses I can share with you maybe tomorrow from the Padyavali where he wrote. One of them I am memorizing. And so when Lord Chaitanya, when he was explaining this verse, he changed the word. He didn't want to hear bhakti. So Lord Chaitanya explained in such a way. This was one way. This Mukunda, the name Mukunda is he who gives mukti, but Kunda is the Kunda flower. How Lord Chaitanya is the lotus face. Lord Krishna is the lotus face. Mukunda, you can think of it that. So the idea is that Sankhya was hijacked. The very idea of Sankhya was hijacked by the false Kapila. And it all became, just the analysis. It's more or less science. Just analyzing what's not spirit. This is where this neti comes in, although that's also mentioned in reference to Prahlad Maharaj. Neti means not this, not this. Okay, is this the absolute truth? Can't be this. This is gross matter. That's not it. How about my mind? That's also so. You keep analyzing net this, not this, until you get to the pure spirit. But Krishna consciousness is absolutely positive form of inquiry. And that's why it starts, his teachings, Kapila Dev's teaching will start with the personality. He's saying the cure for the problem is to take all of these material desires. His mother complained, I have all these sensual desires, my senses are causing me. Transfer them to the sadhu. Of course, she has the greatest association with the sadhu right there, with the exalted son. But he's giving a general instruction. And in the association of the sadhu, he defines what the sadhu is, Tikshiva Karanika, very, very tolerant, kind to everyone, no false ego, advised by the Shastras, very pure, clean. And why is he that way? Because he's unalloyed devotee of me. Maya Nandina Bhavini Bhaktin Kurvanti Evidam. And such a sadhu is very determined, such a devotee is determined to serve Krishna at all costs. And so he says he will give up any activity at all that's impeding. And even any relationship, even with his friends and family, if it's impeding devotional service. This is a criterion, how serious one is. People come to Krishna consciousness, but they're not ready to give up so much. Someone who's just a dabbler, people come and basically, because the default thing in the mind is, what can I get from it? What can I get from this? Oh, I like the prasadam, nice devotees, they're friendly,
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind, that's the thing. It's a big deal. It's a big thing. But when it comes to getting serious, it means, no, you got to give up this, and take on this, and this. It's a great. I don't know, it's a gradual process. So here he's just gives up anything, for my service. And what does he do positively? Now we're coming back to the same theme. Is always Mrisha means the talks that are about me, Manashya Katam Rishta, which are very sweet and attractive, always hearing and chanting. And because of that, and this is for his mother who's complaining, I'm feeling pain, is that he's not suffering. Because his mind is focused on me by hearing and chanting chiefly, you don't feel those threefold miseries so much. Of course they're there, but it's not like, this is the end of the world. And in the highest levels, you don't feel anything. Like Haridas Thakur. Can you imagine being beaten in 22 mornings? He didn't feel a thing. Prahlad, he wasn't, agonizing in that boiling pot. He's just completely meditating on Krishna. So then he goes on with the famous verse Satampa Sangha Mamavirya Samvida, that this is the easiest form of yoga. Now he's going to describe the hard form of yoga, meditation and all that. But he starts out with the practical form that's there for all of us in this age also. Because Bhagavatam is spoken for us. It's for the Kali Yuga, it's the coming Kali Yuga. We need this. So, meet amongst the devotees, amongst the serious devotees, satam prasangan. Again, the word prasanga means intense association, serious association, hearing with ardently. And you're going to hear talks about me. This is Kapila speaking. Satam mamavirya sambhavanti ritkana rasayana. And this speaking from the pure devotees is just like a life-giving elixir for the ears and the heart. What does it say? Satam bhavanti ritkana rasayana. The heart and the ear are just brought to life, and just nectar. And tanjoshana ashu apavarga vartmani. Here's your path of liberation to apavarga by employing this. And what develops? Bhakti. What is it? Rati, Bhakti, Shraddha, Bhakti, and Rati. There's faith, attraction, and pure devotion develops step by step. And the next verse, I won't go through the whole thing. He says, in this way you become vairagya, because there has to be two things. The knowledge, the bhakti, vairagya. The detachment also is an evidence. That's a very valuable thing. So that's naturally developed by this process. And then in the last line it says, Rijubir. This is the easiest form of yoga. Yeah? Just to come together and read Krishna book and chant Hare Krishna and then take prasadam and dance. That's all so good. That's the essence of the process. But there's only 5 of us here, you know. This is the process. So you can see how Lord Chaitanya came to fulfill the same thing that Kapila Deva was giving. It all fits in perfectly. So here is mature. He promised that he would become, and he fulfilled that promise. And he's coming to distribute knowledge. And then Bhaktanam Manavardhana. He increases the honor of his devotees. How would he increase the honor of his devotees? Because the devotees would be enlivened to practice pure devotional service, and that automatically attracts the respect of honest people, of people who are civilized. Just like the Rupa Goswami, they were beloved of all, you know, and Sanatana Goswami, everyone respected them. So, and also the idea that the devotees are always praying for the advent of the Lord, and periodically he comes. This gives great credence to the devotees that Krishna appears. And when Srila Prabhupada came, because we have to always remember that the holy name is an avatar in this age. Kali Kali Namanuma Krishna avatar, right in the CZ. So Srila Prabhupada came, to the West, to this dark world, dark part of the world. And his basic principle was chanting. He was giving the chanting, and for those who could hear, he would explain how, why. And after some time, great effort and determination, difficult, he broke through, and he got some serious chanters who actually experienced the divinity of the divine name, of this. It's a holy name, and it will transform, just like a Vaidurya gem, whatever it gets transformed, or Chintamani gem. That's a more accurate analogy. So that experience of the divinity of the holy name of the Hare Krishna mantra, that's really what started the movement. That's what's sustaining it. Is that there's really something there. If you let the holy name work, if you don't place up all these barriers in your mind, and you hear and you chant a little bit purely, and you're a little bit sincere, then Krishna, you will get reciprocation exactly in proportion. And you'll feel the purification, the happiness, the cloud of depression and anxiety lifting. How valuable that is in this age. I mean, the reality is that the whole world is hanging by a thread right now. It's hanging by a thread. There's no secure place on this earth right now. You've got two, what they call existential threats. One is climate change, and the other is nuclear war. And every one of those affects every living being on the earth, not even just human beings. And it's not just my imagination. Who can argue that I'm exaggerating? Good grief. The whole world is anxiety. You got this 5-year-old with his finger on the button in Washington.
He's right next to a button that he pushes, and they bring him a Diet Coke on his desk. No. And they're afraid he might push the wrong button. He's reaching for a Diet Coke and blows us all to hell.
And if somehow we survive that, you've got the more deep-seated danger. It's a great lesson. You can learn so much, and see how the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam is being manifest before our eyes by this climate change thing. What is that? You have an out-of-control, what else can I call it, capitalist system, which is based on accumulation, exploiting, and just expanding and expanding. There's always, they're always wondering, did the economy grow? If the economy didn't grow enough, what's going to happen? It has to constantly grow. But the planet is finite, and everybody wants to grow. And now the Chinese, everyone wants a car, 1.5 billion car. You can't, the planet cannot support this artificial lifestyle that we're living here so peacefully, for everybody in the world. So it's a classic case of shreyas and preyas. In other words, human life is meant for, as we know, tapasya, self-denial, in service of the ultimate good. Right? Do I need to quote Rishabdev? Tapo divyam bhutakaya sattvam shuddhiyam brahmasakyam tvananta. Don't act like hogs and dogs and just try to enjoy your senses and lose the human form of life and create a hell on earth. Dungeon of demons, Prabhu's famous book. That's not what human life is meant for. And if you go that route, it'll be horrific for yourself and everyone else in the world. No. Tapo divyam means austerity, self-restraint, redirecting. What's the advantage? Self-purification. You'll come to the point of enjoying unlimited spiritual happiness. You'll get a taste of it in this body, and then when this body falls, you'll go back to the spiritual world. That's the whole point. And society has to be organized on that basis. Otherwise, it'll be organized on the basis of, Ravana and Hiranyakashipu. Unlimited sense gratification, domination, uncontrolled senses. This is chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita. We're looking at it. So here you have scientists. Okay, the scientists, they're looking at the evidence, and the evidence is right before us. Just like 2 and 2 is 4. That out of control consumption and burning the fossil fuels and everything is causing the climate change. Let's assume for a moment that it's correct. Okay, that's right. So then you have they're representing the intelligent part of the human beings. Hey, we got to do something. And millions of people all over the world understand that, and they're trying to do something, recycling or something, whatever, the hybrid car, But the guys in control are not doing that. You don't find the Exxon and the big banks and all that. They're, going for it. And our so-called president is giving him full reign. The EPA, let's shut down those regulations that create pure water. Let's, any restriction on drilling for coal and get out. It's almost like, just the opposite. And what's going to stop them? Because you have, the same class of people. There's always some demons in every part of the world trying to take over in China and this and there, and do it like. And so that's an existential threat. Maybe not in our lifetimes, but maybe in your lifetime. The way it'll manifest, it won't be so as fast as that. But SanDiego can become unlivable, too hot,
and underwater.
And Greenland is melting right now as we speak. India is in big trouble when all those glaciers in the Himalayas, which they are melting. Where do you think the water comes from? It snows up there all winter and then it comes down just like here. We had a drought for 6 years and it rained, so now it's over. Yeah. So it's a very delicate balance, the whole thing. So my point is that it's a perfect example. Instead of one person, each of us has to make the decision. Is it going to be shreyas or preyas? Are we just going to try to enjoy the senses and forget about the future? You only live once, go around, get as much gusto as you can get. That was a beer commercial. That's it. Drink. Enjoy now. I never know, And then, but we're saying, yes, enjoy now. Come to the kirtan. That's Hare Krishna, But still, you have to control the senses. So this is the world we're in. Are we going to be serious that we want to go back to Godhead? Come what may, whether those bombs come over in the next day or two or next hour, we're ready. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Or if they're not, we'll work as hard as possible to spread this knowledge and this process both together, so that can actually change the consciousness of the world. That's the only hope. Adjusting it this way and that way. The solar panels are great, but they're not going to solve the problem because the same enjoying mood is there. Just like the hybrid cars, they're great, but then there's a whole thing of anyway, it still is a great burden on the planet. In one line, Prahlad Maharaj analyzed the whole thing. This remedy for the difficulties of this world, the misery, produce more miseries, and the whole root is atadhyaham. I am thinking I'm something I'm not. without that basic understanding of our spiritual nature, which is the A of the ABCs of Krishna consciousness, what to speak of chanting the holy name, there's no hope in this world. So it's up to us, the 6 people in this room, to okay. Any questions or comments?
I have a question, but I have some comments first. Just as a sidelight, and one of those, big environmental groups, I forget what it was, but well respected, they've analyzed electric cars from how much energy and what they produce as far as a pollution, byproduct. And they're a wash. You don't actually reduce the carbon footprint by getting a hybrid or an electrical car, because all the chemicals that are required to create the batteries and get the whole things going, and then when you've got the car, when its life cycle is over, to break it down, it's the same amount of pollution.
Yeah.
It's a wash.
I didn't want to mention that because you were driving a hybrid car, but
That's just,
But it's a classic, In other words, they go through all this effort.
Confirming Prahlad.
And
the solution is...
Exactly. And meanwhile, you wasted all that time on a material solution, and you end up in the same spot you were before. And
I had another one.
Go ahead.
As far as global warming. I have a niece, Kate, and she's got a PhD from Bates, and then she's working at that big, Woods Hole, whatever it is. It's that big, and she spent 2 years in Iceland. And then in the north, doing, because they'll say they used to grow grapes in Iceland. In Greenland. That used to, So global warming is a natural phenomenon. It just comes and goes. And for 200 years they were growing wheat in Greenland. Forget it. It's all She said, no. What you can do into ice.
Yeah.
Because I asked her. I said, hey, what's the story? Help me out here. And she said, just like you can do borings, and you can tell, what happened with the tree when you go through the rings. You go through the ice, and it'll show you all the different things. She said you can take a basic rate, that how fast the Earth has gone through cooling periods and warming periods, naturally occurring.
Right. And
you can measure the rate that those occur. And the rate of global warming is happening now is like to the nth time. It's happening so much faster. So it's obvious. It's not a natural event. It's a man-made, event, and it's happening at a rate that's we've never seen before, just exponentially. So it's definitely happening. It's definitely coming at a huge rate compared to the normal, swings of the planet Earth. So there's no question about it.
I'll tell you another story. I just learned something new yesterday.
Gotcha.
I was reading this story about the pingo. What is a pingo? I have no idea.
What is it?
No, I'm just saying. This was I had never heard of this thing.
Pingo.
And so it
not to be confused with ping pong.
Yeah.
Okay.
A pingo is a little hill that grows like within a couple of days. And what it is in the north of most
like a pimple on the earth.
Yeah. And what they've developed now in the northern part of Russia, because they have a huge Arctic, And what's happening is they have these methane hydrates. They've been frozen for a long time, and they keep the methane, frozen. But now with the gradual heating, this methane is coming out, and they have like what do they call that? Permafrost. In the north, where it's if it wasn't cold, it would be like a bog or something, but it's frozen. So now in the northern part of Russia, this so-called permafrost is not permanent anymore because it's heating up gradually, and so this methane is starting to come up, and it forms like this bubble, and there's this hill, but within it is this bubble of methane, and there's thousands of them, and if they burst. This methane is like 100 times worse than the carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. In other words, it's like getting ready to blow, and it creates, of course, a feedback loop because it makes it warmer. There's more methane coming out like that. So the point is that there's all kinds of signs. Just like you gave the example, I remember this because it's stuck in my mind. How we get so many signs in human life. Oh, why I wasn't warned, Krishna? Why didn't you warn me that that I was approaching death? Oh, the white hair and the limping and the wrinkles and all these things. These are the signs to get serious. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So the earth is blinking red. And that alarm that's always and it comes out.